DB, I got some stats for you.
All right, let's talk stats, buddy, because you are very fired up, and I want you to do it the exact same way you said to me. Can you do the thing again where you go, it's not true?
It's not. See, this is what bothers me.
You said it's not true.
People get a perception about things, and then instead of being curious, they'll be like, hey, I wonder if my eyes are lying to me. Let's go look at the numbers, right? Instead of doing that, they just run with whatever willy-nilly feeling comes into their brain.
You stole my term.
I know.
I brought it back.
You did.
But I'm
willy-nilly.
old.
That's your guy.
I don't even know willy-nilly.
Well, Willie Nelson? That's your dude, right?
No.
Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
I am not a cannabis dude.
So I think it was Jason on the stream. Appreciate everybody.
Was it Jason, Josh, or Jared?
I don't know. We got a lot of J's.
It was one of the J's.
One of the J's in the stream brought up a point about Micah Mazzccua because we were talking about why people keep bringing him up to Coach Rule and asking about him. And he goes,
well, he clearly was bothered.
Yeah, 100%. And so Jason, Josh, Derulo, I don't know, whoever.
I'm telling you, it was either
one
Jason,
of the J's.
Jared, or Josh.
One of the J's brings
Although
up.
Josh is added to his name. Potential pastor.
They brought up why they thought the Mazzccua thing kept coming up. And it was, it's the run game. It's got to be the run game, right? Because Nebraska was running the ball really well when Mazzccua was starting. And all of a sudden, it's fallen off a cliff.
Shane brought it up. It's Jared.
We were close.
You're an idiot.
Justin.
I thought it was J-Rod.
Jeremiah.
So I have a Jared that I like, and I used to call him J-Rod.
But
he was a big Razorbacks fan.
This perception of, hey, like obviously since Mike, and we just have run with it. I don't know if it's the PFF grades. I don't know if it's just the assumption of whatever it is that we're like, oh, Micah Mazzccua, best run blocker on the team. That must be why they can't run the ball anymore. I'm going to give you 5 numbers, DB. Okay.
This is
actually, I'm going to give you 4.
Every time you go off, this is hilarious.
I'm going to give you 4 because Illinois, they rushed the ball poorly, right?
Yeah.
48 yards, 33 attempts. Let's not pay attention to the fact that they had 50 more lost yards rushing the ball from sacks than they had in any other game, because I'm sure that doesn't count. Oh, wait, that doesn't have anything to do with the running game? Okay, well, we'll move on because that's the outlier, right? And that's the one everybody's thinking about. 161, 223, 149, 142.
Okay.
Which of those 2 games do you think Micah Mazzccua started versus the 2 that Henry Lutovsky started?
So 223 was UTEP.
Okay.
So he started that.
So that's Mazzccua. Which, by the way, they ran 12 more times in that game than they have against anybody else. But continue.
And I will give them to me again.
223, 149, 142, 161.
I'll go. Shoot, I don't know. I'll go 161.
Wrong. That's at Purdue.
Okay.
So that's a Henry Lutovsky game.
All right. So let's go back to Colorado then, because that's when he got. Okay. So 142.
That's 149 is the Colorado game.
Okay.
So 223 and 149, which means Lutovsky's been in there for 142.
Okay.
And 161. The 142, by the way, is Nebraska's best yards per carry on the season. That's a Lutovsky game. At Purdue, 5 yards per carry. Pretty good. Let's go. Let's do a little quick math here.
Oh, I kind of know where you're going.
So UTEP is fewer yards per carry than
because they had 12 carries, 12 more carries.
Yeah, because they had 47 carries in that game. And then let's do 149 divided by 35. Oh, weird. The 2 lowest of those are the Micah Mazzccua games, the 2 lowest yards per carry, because Colorado's 4.2. Lutovsky got you at 7 against UNI and at 5 at Purdue. Those are the numbers. Yeah, I get Illinois look bad against Illinois. You want to add in back from the sack numbers? Because there's 50 more sack yards in that game.
I think 57.
Right, but there's 50 more than in any other game.
Yeah.
So they're basically right at 100. Not a great day still, but way dramatically better than 33 for 48 looks.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe Illinois is good. Oh, by the way, that happened to be Dylan Raiola's best game passing the ball, too. 297 yards for 3 touchdowns.
What made you mad? What made you go back and do this?
Because of the comment. It's just we get this narrative in our head. It's back to the red zone thing with Rutgers all over again.
Hey, sorry, Jared. That wasn't my doing.
We get this thing in our head about, this is a thing that must be true, and then we don't even go check. because I just checked and it's not true. We get Illinois stuck in our head and be like, oh, we must not have been able to run the ball because Micah Mazzccua wasn't playing. Maybe Illinois is good because every other indication of the other 4 games, because you have 5 of them to look from. So you don't just have the 1-game sample size, which is nice about playing more than 1 game a year. You've got a 5-game sample size. The other 4 games would indicate to you that the running game's been better with Henry Lutovsky in there. So maybe when Coach Rule says, hey, like Lutovsky's the starter, he had passed him, because that's what he said. He said he had passed him before this happened. Maybe that's what he's talking about. And he's like, hey, we think Henry's better at this point. He's better for what we're trying to do. And we're not going to talk about how, Dylan Raiola had all day to throw against Purdue. All day. Just however much time he wanted. Because that's not part of playing offensive line either. And we're not going to pretend like Micah Mazzccua wasn't the best pass blocker of that group. He was like, his strength was definitely run blocking, and that still doesn't reflect in the numbers. Like, maybe we should go back and look. That's just if we're going to run with something like it's a fact, maybe we should go look at it. Like the fact that Rutgers, second in the country in red zone defense, was 5 of 6 giving up scores in the red zone prior to the Washington game. You know where 5 of 6 would put them? That's 83%. That puts you around 70th in the country. Are we having this conversation about their red zone defense if they're 70th in the country? Oh, God, are we going to be able to score in the red zone? Nah, I think it's going to be okay.
That's a story I keep in-house.
Nebraska has the exact same number of red zone possessions allowed this season as Rutgers does, 11. Nebraska's given up 8 scores. You know how many touchdowns difference they've given up? 1. 1 touchdown difference between Nebraska's red zone defense and Rutgers' red zone defense. So you're telling me Rutgers is this vaunted, and Nebraska's in like the 30-40 range for their red zone defense. So Rutgers is this vaunted red zone defense because they had 1 good game against Washington and because somebody made 2 more field goals.
Can I give you another one?
That's what we're doing here?
Can I give you another one?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't go in on Lance, but I did talk about red zone offense, right? So my man Blake, I'm not going to use his last name. We go back and forth. And Blake sometimes is one of those guys that during the game will say things that drive me up the wall because it comes across as he's real time, which I think is difficult, but it's fine because he's pretty bright. He said the conversation around red zone offense and defense doesn't paint an accurate picture, in my opinion. I wish more folks, because this is what I was talking about on Monday when I went off, right? I'm like, you have to look at the red zone. Anyway, I'm not going to validate me. I'm just going to read what he wrote, even though I do want to validate me. He said, I wish more folks would look at red zone points per game, red zone attempts, and points per red zone attempt. Touchdown percentage or scoring percentage is too vague. Red zone attempts is important because great teams give themselves a ton of opportunities to score, and they score touchdowns once they're there. The narrative is that the Husker offense is bad in the red zone. We average 20.6 red zone points per game, 4 attempts per game, and 5.15 points per red zone attempt. I take your point about sample size, but those stats are good for like 40th in the country, which is what I was saying the other day. Great teams are 24 to 27 points per game in the red zone, 4.5 red zone attempts per game, and 5.5 red zone attempts. We are really close to that. I responded, that's 100% accurate. That's what drives me up the wall. Conversely, look at Rutgers' red zone defense before and after playing Washington. He said, just keep putting yourself out there. It'll eventually put yourself down there. It will eventually work. If you aren't efficient, like the Huskers were in 2022, or if you are efficient, it'll work. The Huskers in 2022 were incredibly efficient in the red zone, 5.5 trips, but only averaged 2.7 attempts per game. Who cares how efficient you are if you can't get down there? So to your point with Rutgers, what excites me is they allowed Washington to get into the red zone 5 times. If they want to keep living by the sword and giving us the opportunities, we'll take our 5.1 points per red zone attempt, score around 26 red zone points, and let's see if Rutgers can score 27. I doubt they can. The Husker D is only allowing 2.2 red zone attempts per game. That's elite. And only allowing 4 points per red zone attempt. That's elite. That's getting inside the numbers. How about that? Because
I like it.
He's 100% right.
That's a guy that's curious. I like it. Blake,
Right?
is that who it was?
Yeah, he's a Berean.
We like Blake.